You're all a bunch of fucking assholes. You know why? You don't have the guts to be what you want to be. You need people like me. You need people like me so you can point your fucking fingers and say, that's the bad guy. So, what'll that make you? Good?
Welcome back. We are going to have a simplistic show. I'm not going to even make this long. I just after kind of talking about this situation, this Cynthia G versus Kevin Samuels situation, who is better for the community? Who is promoting self-hate? Who is really putting people in a position to really know their worth? And I'm getting a lot of feedback, a lot of different feedback. So what I want to do is I want to play something. Fair use. Let's get that out the way right now. Let's get that out the way. Okay. But I want to play something that I heard that was very interesting that I wanted to share with you guys to kind of see what you guys thought about this situation. So let me know in the comments what you think about this.
People are saying I'm a problem. I'm promoting eugenics and stuff like that. Okay, that's fine. You can say that. What purpose do you serve, though? What purpose do Black men serve? If you don't serve a purpose, if you are not a benefit to a person, you're only posing as a burden, then your numbers need to decline. It just is what it is. You're dead weight. Literally, these stereotypes and the negative imagery that we have, it is because of Black men who started out as babies.
Yeah, and Helen said something interesting. She said 7 women to 1 man on Earth will change the trajectory of Earth, less aggression. And just think about that. Even though they are the minority of the Black community, how do you get to be the smallest group, no matter where you go, and be the most ineffective, the most violent, the most expendable, and then you get to, and then you think you're gonna run something. You think that you're gonna tell people what they can and can't do with their wombs. Obviously, there is a problem, and it has been identified as you. You are the problem. So the matriarchs need to make executive decisions. What happens if Black women cease or at least selectively breed Black males, right? Selectively have Black sons. If we do selective breeding, as it relates to having sons, especially, what happens then? Crime rates go down.
Right.
Violence and sexual assault in our communities, molestation in our communities. There actually will be some upticks in how we look overall as a race, as far as education, and all of these things, without their element bringing it down. And I know that sounds harsh to some people, but it is the reality. Like, this is the dumbest collective group of imbeciles that is on the planet.
Now, Nyla, you target Black men and the idea of a patriarchy or men leading, but then you're griping over men not leading. And I've noticed that when I showed videos of Black men actually building communities and civilizations, etc., as they've done from Babylon to Timbuktu to Iberia to Black Wall Street, from Harlem to Bronzeville to the Israelite communities being built in the state of Israel and in the U.S., yeah, you see there's crickets then. And y'all make sure to announce that you're not divestors, because you know that you can't be truly divested talking about Black men in every single video, dedicating your channels to Black men now. And actually, you had an interesting channel without doing all that. Yet you want to take the talking points of the divestors, just as you want to let it be known that you're not pro-Black, although you knew that you were being perceived as pro-Black. That's how you wanted to be perceived initially, taking points from pro-Blacks like myself. I guess you're just following the algorithms now, where the money at, or where the change is at, or what the hype is right now. But it'll be played soon. And these women, they are so egotistical and self-centered that they see Black women expressing natural affections of love for Black men as Black male worship. That's just how egotistical they are, and how they have this godlike complex of themselves. You know, you can't express love or preference for Black men without it being worshiping Black men. This is Black male worship. And how are we in this Black male worshiping culture if no one really respects Black men? And it's so obvious that they're agents up in here talking like some evolutionist, eugenicist Nazis, using terms like selective breeding. Now, when did Black people use terms like breeding? And listen to this, y'all.
And then we gotta be clear that this theory that this Black male unicorn still exists. This theory that this Black male unicorn is still out there, and somehow, you know, your man is different than everybody else's man. And
ladies and gentlemen, should we be afraid? Should we be afraid? It seems like, whether we feel like these types of women are agents, we feel like, hey, they are promoting self-hate. We are doing this thing where we say any unborn male Black children should be crucified at the stake. We're in the times of times. So now the question is, well, if we have women such as this, where are all the women that say, hey, you know what? I don't believe in that rhetoric. I don't believe in that type of narrative. I believe in working with Black men. I believe in growing homes and businesses and raising our children together. Something to think about.
Your daddy is different. That idea, that's what we got to do away with, y'all, because that still puts us in a position of protection. It puts us in a position that is crazy. It's crazy. It's like it literally still restrains you. We just addressed the fact that Black relationships are a struggle. Like black women don't even want to accept that. Like the fact that you are with a Black man, he is on the bottom totem pole in society economically when it comes to his respect. No other group of men that is over him economically. And when it comes to the government and the patriarchal society, everybody is above the Black man. So technically, your relationship is a struggle. Your marriage is a struggle. Your relationship with your son, struggle. Your relationship with your father,
I have to stop right
struggle.
here because I don't have those struggles. So
well,
I don't.
It is a struggle when it comes to society. It's a struggle.
No, I don't have a struggle, and I respect the fact that many women do have that struggle, but I don't have one. And so what I'm not going to do is, for the sake of conversation, act like the majority of men don't. And I'm not even calling people unicorns. I won't even call my situation a unicorn. But what I will say is that emphatically, my relationship with my son, my husband, or my father is not a struggle. But I don't have a cape on for those who are perpetuating those things either. So acknowledging that, just because I didn't go through it does not mean that it is not a horrible problem, that it's a horrible situation, and that most women are going to experience this. I don't have a problem with admitting that. I don't have a problem with admitting that I've seen my sisters go through some of this stuff, that I've seen friends go through that stuff, but I don't have to deny or say, yeah, I'm in the struggle too, if I'm not in the struggle, because that would be lying.
What I was trying to say is this. What I'm trying to say is that your man is on the bottom of the totem pole economically and due to the dominant society, so that technically makes it a struggle.
The collective is. The collective is, and individually,
Black men in general are.
Okay, so they're right. The collective is, but they're white men outside waiting for him to give him money right now.
What I'm saying is Black men in general are at the bottom economically, so that creates a struggle. Right. So your relationship and your marriage is technically a struggle.
When you say your man, you're talking directly to me.
No, I was talking.
I thought she was talking just in general. Yeah, I thought she was talking in general.
Okay.
And I always say that. You're just identifying with it, so let's talk about it. Okay, so let's talk about it. You did just identify because you made it personal.
As many other people are saying, because I've seen women say, look, I didn't have a dusty daddy.
Now, Nyla, my question to you is, what makes your man the exception? Oh, Black men ain't shit, except you, Taz. We need a reset by Black men being terminated, except you, Taz. Black men have never built anything nor done anything for Black women, but we ain't talking about you, Taz. So, I guess if they keep making Taz the exception, that gives them an excuse to talk as recklessly as they want to about Black men around him in his presence. It's like they're the white racist stars of the show and he's the token minority. I guess he's convinced that he's the exception. That's like how some of us sisters like myself who...
Let's talk about this exception. Let's talk about this exception to the rule real quick. Ladies and gentlemen, if you know a phenomenal black man or a phenomenal black woman, isn't it your duty, isn't it your right to be able to promote that person being phenomenal? Now, when I listen to this type of narrative that, you know, there are no good black men or no good black women, you know, I have to ask myself, like, what is the end state? What do you expect to happen after you make this bold outcry or outpour or promote this rhetoric that there are no good black men? So what do you do when you get rid of the black man? What happens when you get rid of the black woman? What happens then? Because it seems like no one's thinking about the end state, and the solution is basically promoting a genocide to one gender.
Who loved rap music and wanted to keep listening to certain songs because they had a funky beat or whatever, how we would hear the sexist derogatory lyrics against us, but we keep lying to ourselves because we wanted to keep listening, saying, well, he's not talking about me. But the only time they even mention women is when they're referring to women as bitches and hoes. But of course, I am the exception, of course. And you so-called sisters, you're preaching all of this doom and gloom to black women. I'm telling you, as I'm analyzing this, because I feel like I'm supposed to be, but as I'm analyzing this, I'm telling you, it is so hard listening. You know, I can't listen to all of it, but I'm taking notes and everything, and I'm trying to just find some humanity, some, you know, just some sort of sister connection. It's like, it's just nothing but doom and gloom in them circles, you know, and it's very hard listening to this. But you know, I'm gonna break it down. But yeah, they're like sending all these messages of doom and gloom to black women, even saying that black males should be aborted and eliminated because they're dead anyway, and we black women are pretty much doomed, so we might as well participate in our extinction. That's basically what they're saying. I mean, their videos are so depressing. Usually gossip is exciting. I'm not saying that it's good, but it's usually not depressing. Their gossip, listening to their gossip is actually depressing. It doesn't make me want to get popcorn, you know? Because really, their channel, that's all it is.
I'm gonna have to disagree with the content creator. Let's get into this. I'm gonna have to disagree with the content creator. I don't think it's just about gossiping. I think it's about promoting hatred. And rightfully so, a lot of people have suggested that Cynthia G's message is equivalent to Kevin Samuels' message. It's equivalent. So my thought process is it just gossip? Or is it pointing a direction? Is it telling people this is what you should do? I mean, it's I mean, that's a crazy statement to tell the black community, mothers, black women, if you are having a male child, you need to abort. Do not have. We are not strong enough to raise black men in this type of community. They are doomed anyway. That seems like it's more than just gossip. That sounds like direction. That's an announcement, and direction is given. Now, there are several women that sit, there are several men that sit and listen to this narrative, but never have I seen the mass majority tell Cynthia G that she is wrong. The mass majority tell Kevin Samuels, if you feel like his message is a detriment to society. Why do these messages get so much traction, get so much attention? That's the real question. Because hate speech is hate speech, is it not? If there was a white man or a white woman or a Hispanic man or a Hispanic woman or an Oriental man or Oriental woman telling
sister try to present solutions, they cutting off, calling her mammy. They don't want anybody interfering with or disrupting their gossip show, okay? Like Bernie Tree 66 called it, straight shit show. And their channels show ain't pro-black woman. No real support or encouragement for black women, trying to get young girls to get themselves permanently fixed before they even have an idea or perception of family. But you have no struggles with your man, no. Your man is the exception. We're all caught up in struggle love, but your man, your relationship is the exception to the rule. Don't mess with my man. Don't mess with my man. Don't mess with my boy. Who was that? Wasn't that Donnie from En Vogue? Anyways. And what kind of friends would be with you regularly talking about how black men ain't shit and how black women are silly who deal with black men, knowing that you are a black woman who is dealing with a black man in an intimate relationship with a black man? Now, I understand that we generalize when issues become too big to individualize. I say that all the time. But as long as you still defend, support, and protect the collective of black women who happen to be abused, abandoned, and disrespected by black men, it is not overlooking or disregarding these sisters or dismissing what they're going through by mentioning your relationship with black men, your personal relationships with black men, whether it's your family or your husband or whoever, and giving them hope. We're supposed to be trying to give them hope. And if your love for them is real, then it's not false hope, it's real. And why would you have continuous discussions about black men without giving your own testimony, giving your own experiences, negative and positive, with black men? That's a fair discussion, a balanced discussion. You're not disregarding or dismissing the experiences of black women who happen to be hurt or harmed by black men by merely recognizing that not every black man is trying to kill black women or even disrespect black women. Black women, you should know better, especially if you've been up in social media for a while. You should know better than to make such sweeping generalizations and stereotypes. Like, I remember how I used to go against Tommy Sotomayor, and he would make these statements talking about how trying to find a good black woman is like going through a giant trash bin to find one good piece of steak at the very bottom, which can't be good considering that it will also be contaminated. And now y'all are talking just like Soto Nation. And I would hear the same things. Well, he's telling the truth. Is he lying though? Is he lying about black women? And now y'all talking the same. But well, I know this is all a setup anyway. Y'all was set up. You know, he was set up so that y'all could to counter him. I mean, it's all a setup up in here. I predicted this all happening like 10 years ago, over 10 years ago, okay? Now, if I were to overlook the issues of black women just because I got a man, I would not have went against such black woman bashing rhetoric, not to mention what I've done for black women in my real life, something that can be proven, unlike the case with yourselves and all of your tales as a black Latina. If I disregarded the collective of black women, I would not have presented the Moynihan report, ironically, right before you and Cynthia G did, to debunk the stereotypes and lies against black women. But you see, my focus is more on defending, supporting, and promoting black women, not bashing black men, okay? Because my love for black women is whatever negative feelings I may have against some of these black men, okay? You see, my focus was not bashing black men or giving tit for tat. You know, where you strike me, I'ma strike you back harder. No, that's what y'all about. Y'all about gunning, ranking, and all of that. Bottom line, considering that the black man is part of your DNA or your makeup, you cannot be pro-black woman if you are anti-black man. It's unnatural. You will not have that natural love and affection for your sisters. It's unnatural. And all of this selective breeding talk would only lead up to a bunch of anything but black females and man sharing, a lot of man sharing, because now you'd have a population of biracial females who greatly outnumber the men. It's like Synergy and her siren sisters, they're trying to create some Amazonia population, like on Futurama. You mean snoo snoo. Now they know that it takes a black woman and a black man to keep creating black females who they claim to advocate for. And Synergy herself, she said that either you're black or you're white, no in between. But I think that these divestors, I think that they want to have sisters ending up looking like the homegirl Genesia Garcia, And it's like the lighter and lighter they're showing themselves in these videos, with the filters and all that stuff, the worse they're getting. And notice how they seem to have an underlying concern and connection for the non-black females who have stories of abuse and abandonment by black men. Notice how they're giving them a voice even in some of their videos, sharing what white women had to say and all that. It's like they really value the opinions of these white women and other non-black women. But before Synergy got hooked up with black women up in here, like Nyla, for street cred, if you will, she was partying up with the Beckys in Seattle and Portland. You see that these so-called sisters, they don't really care about the sisters. This is all about making money up in here and their plants up in here, which is why they are.
Do you guys believe it's all about making money? Do you believe it's all about making money, or is it really about helping men and women? Is it really about building the community? Is it really about strengthening what we have available right now? Or do you believe it's a money grab? Do you believe that it's people playing on people's heartstrings because they know that they're vulnerable? They know that, I can use this rhetoric, I can promote this narrative, and I can get people to donate to my platform. Is it a money grab? So should we be trying to appeal to their greater self? Should we be trying to have the tough conversation, or is the dollar mightier? Something to think about.
So quick to cuss out black women, calling them all kind of bitches and hoes, playing StreamYard gangsters, just when a sister disregards them like on one mere point. I saw a video someone shared with Synergy and Nyla calling this woman on the panel bitches and shit right after she praised Synergy. This female came on a panel, praised Synergy pretty much, and spoke as if she was honored to be in their presence. And soon as Synergy and Nyla thought that this woman was disagreeing with them on something, or just had a different point of view on something, they ended up calling her bitches and hoes, cutting her off,
Isn't this what we just saw with Tanya TKO? We just saw that when you don't go with the status quo, when you don't play into the narrative of, yes, we're going to just talk about the bad of black men and what they do to the black community, what they have done to black women. When you don't play into that narrative, you now become a pick-me. So I'm asking this question. Do you believe that Cynthia G and Kevin Samuels are one and the same? Is that what you believe? Because I was having this conversation earlier and I was getting pushback and saying, hey, Kevin Samuels does the same thing. He does the same thing. And I was like, well, I've seen a couple videos and I just think that it's a little bit different. And it was like, well, how so? I just feel like, I think that at least you get a criteria with Kevin Samuels. Listen, wait. I'm about to piss somebody off. I know. But at least you get a criteria, a breakdown of what he at least expects. I think a lot of times we don't get a criteria. It's well, if you're a black man, you're automatically considered to be bad. Hell, if you're an unborn black man or a black baby or whatever case may be, male, you're automatically considered bad. That is a hell of a comparison, folks. That is a hell of a comparison. I've never heard Kevin Samuels say anything about, well, we need to stop all of the black females from being born. We need to divest. We need to just leave black women alone altogether. Now, if he has said that, feel free to share with me. My email is on the screen. The link of him saying that, divest from black women. Black men, leave black women alone. I truly believe that he gives out a criteria. And I'm not Team Samuels. I'm just saying, I just believe that the information is different. Do we hurt some feelings? Yes. Is it true that there are some people that are average at best? Yes, it is. However, I don't think he promotes the genocide of gender. But hey, I could be wrong. Let me know what you think down in the comments.
I was like, damn, they don't have no real love for black women. And like I said, they fall off with each other so easily. But you see, like I've said, as I've learned from associating with certain people up in here who also made videos against Tommy, people who I thought were sincere, cannot build a relationship based off of hate or your hatred. These females are finding out that the only things that they have in common is that they are black, female, and have issues with black men. I'm noticing even with this Tanya TKO, now she also was saying abort and divest. And the thing is, if you divest, why would you need to abort if you've already divested? You see, this is also about wanting the blood sacrifice. I'm not stupid. You know, they want to get those fetuses. Okay, but anyways, if you've divested, why would you even need to abort? See, it's not enough to just abstain. They want you to make a sacrifice.
Okay, I agree. If you have divested, if you have left black men alone to be around their lonesome, there'll be a need to abort. If you don't want to deal with them, you go left, they go right. You go to Africa, they go to Spain. If you don't want to be around them, you don't want to talk to them, you don't want to procreate with them, then why spend all this time talking about them? Why spend every day pointing out the flaws that they have if it's about ignoring them and living your best life? Is it about divesting or is it about destroying? And then what do you tell the sons of these women? What do you tell the husbands and boyfriends and future partners of these women? Do they introduce themselves as people that are trying to divest from men in the black race? Do they call their one night stands and say, I really hate black men, but I want you to come over? I really hate black men, but I still want to date black men. I get online and I spew rhetoric to women that have been abused, women that have been hurt, women that are in a vulnerable place. And I tell them that black men are no good, but I still date black men. It sounds a bit hypocritical.
But you see, Tanya TKL, now she's trying to kind of separate herself from that kind of talk And you see how quick the sisterhood flips, calling her all kind of mammies. They throw that word around so easily. It's really, I don't know. They want to come off as the more logical, educated ones. I mean, do you see how they so easily flip? There are people who have came up in my chat room, and you notice how even though they may disagree with me, I still try to stay, unless I believe that they're just straight up white trolls, I still try to stay respectful, allow for their opinion. I still kind of protect the people in that room, especially if I know that they've been supporting my channel. Notice how I will tell y'all, don't block them, don't disrespect them, don't cuss them out. And I've had people who are atheists, agnostic, swirlers in my chat room and on my panels even, and still, show them some love, even if we may never be on the same page on certain things that I'm very passionate about even. But like I said, these females, the only things that they have in common, as they are realizing, is that they're black, female, and have issues with black men. They give black women no real sisterly support, no encouragement or hope even. They know that they have thousands of young, impressionable, vulnerable black girls listening to them. Black girls who have been playing on this. They're pimping their pain. Okay? They're pimping their pain for their own profit. And they're already trying to get these girls, these young girls, to have abortions and permanently fixed, as if they're Bob Barker telling sisters to get neutered and spayed to control the animal population. So these young girls end up following their advice, having an abortion or getting fixed, and 10, 20 years later, they're suffering from severe depression, wanting to have their own children, but they can't. I've been in group homes, etc., where many of us girls were talked into doing such things over 30 years ago, and I know the results of this and the damage that this causes. So I take this very seriously, okay? This is not just about trying to get some views. We all want views. We all want to be heard up in here, okay? And I could easily flip and get views, okay? I can easily flip my script and get views. That is too easy for me to do, especially considering that some of these females, definitely Cynthia G, has taken talking points of mine. Now I can easily do.
When clout chasing goes wrong, ladies and gentlemen, do you think this is about views? Do you think this is about views? I'm going to pull this up on the screen so that way you guys can see it. I want you guys to go subscribe to this young lady. That's her name right there. Feel free to go subscribe, hit that like button. But when I heard her speaking, I just had to come back, and I definitely had to talk to you all. You know what I'm saying? I think that this is a tough love conversation. Pimping, pain for profit. I like that. Pimping pain for profit. Have you been hurt by a black man? Have you been abused by a black man? Did a situation happen that didn't work out with the black man? If so, we have a home for you. Come on down so we can pimp you for profit. Interesting.
Like she did and flip and blow up, becoming controversial. But no, that's not me. That's not what I came here for. That's not why I'm here. But these people, they are agents, liars, mouthpieces, con artists, scam artists, felons. All it takes is a little research on these people to find out so much about them. There's so much I can expose. But even if I did, they have become zombies. Many of these people, like the Soto Nation Tombies, as we call them, they've become zombies. The brides of Sinai G, for real. That's why, she would have that little symbolism up there. Because these people who are into the occult, like she had the upside down pink triangle, and I told y'all what that represented. These people who are in the occult, they take that very seriously. They want you to look at that. They want you to focus on that. They want to straight up hypnotize and brainwash you, because many of them are brainwashed monarchs, beta themselves. I'm telling you. Yeah, they trying to talk young impressionable girls into doing stuff so serious and perhaps permanent, but they say that you're doomed anyway, right? Black women dying already happening, right? They want to put the idea of abortion in your minds even before you considered having a child. And notice how whenever her and Synergy is confronted on the evil-ish they say, they always deflect, going back to, well, black men, they've been saying this, they've been saying that, they've been saying they don't want black babies, they've been saying that they hate you, blah, 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 blah. See, they're being slick with that. It's a way of deflecting, causing you to shift focus just as you're becoming shocked. Oh my gosh, did she tell us to abort babies? If they go to saying that and pointing out, well, this is what black men have been suggesting, you instantly forget about the evil-ish that they just said, okay? See, in them doing that type of deflecting, they play on the angry emotions of black women. And they trigger your anger to replace any sort of compassion that you may be developing as soon as you're thinking, oh, no, we can't do that. We abort baby boys selectively, selective breeding. Oh no, that nigga didn't say that. Forget these niggas, abort them. You get what I'm saying? Notice how Synergy, she's always trying to make black women feel stupid for expressing emotions. Okay, women by nature, being that we are the nurturers, we are emotional naturally. That doesn't mean that we use no logic, okay, but we are more emotional. There's a movie that came out, I believe it came out in the 50s, starring one of the Fondas, either Peter or Henry Fonda. The movie's titled 12 Angry Men, and it is about a trial, a jury made up of 12 men, 12 white men, okay, and each of the men, they represented a different type of juror. Now, there was the one father, much of his judgment was based on his emotions. He was like overwhelmed with his emotions, having no sympathy for the defendant, thinking about his own son, thinking about what was going on in his own personal life, that his emotions overruled his logic. But then you had that the so-called logical juror, who all that he wanted to hear was the facts, the data. And it was like he had absolutely no emotion. He was stone cold, like a machine that just receives and puts out data. But then you had the juror who was able to use logic and balance it out with his emotions. Thus, he could give a better analysis and not just an investigation. He could better evaluate and examine the situation and the scenario, and even get in the mind of the defendant by being better able to empathize or even sympathize. Yet, considering that he was balanced, he still could use logic. You see, Synergy, she is a programmed robot. Now, Nyla says is just a hustler and a liar, but Synergy is a programmed monarch beta. She lacks emotions. That's why she could talk about that so easily. She can so easily tell her young female listeners to abort a child, their child, even before they may have considered having a family, and say that she feels no guilt, no shame, no responsibility. She lacks motherly instinct and natural affection. There's no way that I could so easily flip on someone who was just saying how much they admired me, how much they liked my channel, and I would flip so easily and calling them bitches and hoes simply because they began to disagree with me on something. And y'all remember one of the last videos I did on my old channel before it was shut down. Y'all remember I talked about how I would never debate a Soto nut. You know, he kept trying to get me to call into his show. And like I told y'all, never try to call in and or debate with anyone who answers every question with another question. That is something that Cynthia G always does. She never really answers the question. She always responds with another question. That is so much like Tommy, I'm telling you. And they're always using this circular reasoning. They do that a lot. Like Tommy, if we're confronting white racism, like let's say George Zimmerman, who shot and killed Trayvon Martin, he'll respond with, well, what about black on black crime though? But then when you confront him on his ish as a so-called black man, then he responds with, well, y'all ain't never got nothing to say to the white man though. What about the white man? Cynthia G, she deflects in a very similar manner. And as Tommy has poisoned the mind of some young black men and gave white racists instructions on purchasing guns to shoot down blacks, she'll give young black women detailed information on how they can find out the sex of their baby when they're pregnant to help them to make the decision on whether they should abort or keep the baby. And the message is to abort or terminate. Termination only based on the race and sex of this child, this baby, this innocent baby. And then when she and Nyla is called out on this BS, they deflect back onto black men and whatever evil things that black men like Tommy have said to make black women overlook that they're promoting the same evil. And then they try to shame black women who want to merely make mention of their fathers, their sons, their brothers, their uncles, their husbands. Well, I was able to point out communities of black men as good examples. But yeah, they're telling black women that they've been taught are individual examples of good black men or so-called unicorns. Well, of course, these bitter ass Debbie Downers, they're not going to want to hear about a sister in a happy relationship with any black male. Of course, that's no surprise that they're going to try to keep you from mentioning this, trying to make you feel ashamed, shame you into believing that you're dismissing the sufferings or the struggles of your black sisters.
Ladies and gentlemen, why is it that Cynthia G does not promote good black men? Just a real question. Why is it that she does not take the time to highlight good, positive black men that are in her life? Whether it's a pastor, a mailman, school teacher, boyfriend, husband, uncle, brother. Why doesn't she take the time to promote good black men? Whether it's one, whether it's one and a half, why doesn't she take the time to say that it's not even about saying all black men? A lot of people say, they're not talking about everybody. You know what I'm saying? My thought process is, even if she mentioned black men, like she just talked about the hardships of black men, the things that, black men do, right? Okay. But she then brings on a successful black man. She then brings on a man that is a father, that is an entrepreneur, that has his stuff together. Why don't we see that? Why is it such a fear to promote that? I'm sure living in Seattle, I also lived in Seattle myself. I'm sure she sees successful black men, or have seen. Why is it asking too much to promote balance? See, when you push a narrative and you promote this rhetoric that, You know, there's so many bad black men that we just can't get around to promoting the good men. So based on my understanding that Cynthia G did have a child, I am thinking that that man was a good man. That man was a black man. That man was someone that you entertained because he made you feel special. He was consistent to a certain extent. So why then, can you imagine going through that relationship, you know, going out to eat, going to a movie, you know, just finishing having sex, and then you then go to your computer and you jump in front of the screen and say, there are no good black men. Young babies should be aborted if they're a male. But you have a child from a black man. People who share this narrative of, I'm going to talk about all, or I'm going to generalize all, I feel sorry for them. I feel sorry for them because I think a lot of it is a money grab, and it also showcases that, you know what, there are other people out there that share that narrative, that share that rhetoric. They could be the pastors at your church, they could be school teachers, they could be swim instructors, they could work at the daycare, and then know that they all sit around and they huddle around the fire, and everybody kind of shares their demonic stories of how black women and black men ain't shit. It's a bit nerve-wracking because my thought process, did you heal? It's not even about who hurt you, but did you heal? That's always my question to someone when they say, okay, well, hey, this happened to me and that happened to me. And my next question is, before I listen to anything else that you have to say, my question is, did you heal? This is tough love. This is not stupid love. It's not understanding love. This is tough love. We're going to ask some hard questions. Did you heal? Because if you didn't heal, everything that you're speaking on and speaking out about, well, it's pain. And they say hurt people hurt people. But to hurt a whole gender because they are men, or to hurt a whole gender because they are women, to hurt a whole race because they are black, is just as horrible as a white person, a part of the KKK, who promotes genocide for black people. To destroy a child emotionally, mentally, physically, because some black man somewhere hurt you, somewhere some black woman hurt you. Now you want to erase the essence of black men and black babies, black females. I think that's wrong.
How dare you mention that you have a husband or a son or a father who loves you and who you love? How dare you mention that? How selfish of you. They want to shame you by telling you that you're dismissing the testimonies of other sisters, but they're dismissing your testimony as a sister. Even if you represent just one sister, every sister counts. Every testimony counts. Whether you're speaking for one of us or all of us. How are you going to be silenced for speaking on those who you love in your personal life? Ain't nobody going to silence me on speaking on the brothers who I love. I don't care if I'm just talking about one of them. And that's not me dangling my man in front of you or anything like that. Look, I don't have my man on a panel with me barking at other sisters. They are seriously trying to shame black women for merely mentioning men in our lives, men who we love, even if it's our own son. They're trying to shame you for mentioning them because they don't want any sort of compassion creeping in black women. They want you to stay angry and bitter. What type of friend or sister want you to be bitter and triggered all the time? It is one thing to have sisters be aware and awoke, and it's another to just keep them angry and triggered all the time. When you
That is a great statement. Who wants to be angry and bitter? Who wants to hate someone all the time? It's crazy. The thing about it is, for you to sit down and listen to someone promote hatred, promote a narrative that calls for the destruction of babies, that says a lot about you. That says a lot about who you are and what you're about. I really wish that instead of like having these avatars or whatever case may be, and I came up from time to time, but I really wish I could really see these people that are in the chat room. Like, I wish it was a way you could really see them, because I would love to say, what is it that you do? Like in life, like what is your job? Like what do you do? Do you have any children? What do you teach your children? Because I don't understand how you take that information and then you take that into your household to promote it. That's interesting. Very interesting.
You are creating a series focusing on black men with non-black women. You are trying to keep black women provoked, bitter, angry, disgusted. I'm not trying to keep y'all angry, disgusted. Not all the time. I mean, there's a time for everything, no doubt. There's a time to get angry, there's a time to chill. But they want you to be angry and bitter and salty 25 hours a day, 8 days a week, 13 months a year, just like them. Like, I can't wait to come back up in here with y'all discussing the verses that's to come. But they only want you to be up in here gossiping with them, talking against black men. The only time you will hear them laugh when they believe they're clowning black men, or when they're clowning other sisters who they feel that they're smarter than, logical than, calling them manny's bitches hoes when they're dragging hoes. Drag your ass to a freezer and chill. It's serious. But they want you angry all the time. They don't want you feeling that there is any hope for black love, black family, black community. Talking about how there's a need for a reset through eliminating the black male population. How is there going to be a reset? How can you restart when your ass is no longer here? But y'all so logical, right? And I'm sorry, me and the brothers I know, we contribute more than just our existence. And if a sister dare suggest that we vet or just try to be more cautious, careful, discerning, they quick to shut that off. In a way, I don't think they want y'all to be with any men. Remember me explaining to y'all pink upside down triangle and what it symbolizes with synergy. The symbol says it all. Don't fall for that whole Robert Perkins scandal or whatever. But yeah, it's crazy how they're seriously trying to shame you for merely mentioning men in your life, even if it's your own son, saying that you shouldn't talk about these individuals. But Synergy didn't hold back in telling us a detailed story about her white sugar daddy that was giving her and her sisters all of this money. But of course, no one slept with him. Of course not. And Nyla says can continue to present her man. But again, Miss Nyla says, what makes your man the exception?
This is very interesting, ladies and gentlemen. Very interesting. I don't even think it's about finding exceptions anymore. I don't think it's about none of that. I think it's about simply taking a stand. Taking a stand and making sure that the people that are in your circle, the people that are in your life, the people that you cherish as friends and family members, co-workers, letting them know where you stand. I think that's important, because when you have people like this that say, you know, I make money, you can call it entertainment, you can call it, you know, whatever it is that you want to call it. But the fact of the matter is, if I make money spewing hatred, promoting genocide, cranking up and cranking out hate speech, the thought process is at some point in time, people are going to take a stand. This is tough love taking a stand and saying, we don't need rhetoric like this where we hate black women and we hate black men. We should be working together as people. That's a bigger conversation. We should be working together as people, as men and women. Because here's the thought process. Some of us don't live in the projects anymore. And we live in places where, guess what? There are Caucasian people to our left, Hispanic people to our right, across the street, Oriental people. You know, so we have a melting pot. So to be promoting all of this hatred, to have a voice where it say, well, this is fair use and I'm using my First Amendment, and you use it to promote a disdain and a hatred. At some point in time, we got to grow up. I like to use the key term to adult up. I think it's time to adult up and stop following people blindly. Stop following people because someone hurt your feelings. Stop following people because something didn't work out the way you wanted it to work out. It's like steadily going to a church where they only promote hatred. You're not going to heal. You're going to hate. You're not going to mend your wounds. You're going to tear them open wider. There's a process of healing that for some reason we keep skipping past. We keep allowing to get away from us. If you believe that what Cynthia G does is good, it cleanses your soul, it delivers you from evil, I would suggest that you take a long look at listening to that narrative in front of your sons, listening to that narrative in front of the men in your life that support you on a daily basis, and see how they would look at you. See what they would say to you. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know, but I feel like we as people, as citizens, as adults, have a job to do. And it's not to hurt one another. It's not to be perfect, but it is to build. So let's build.
I like myself. You ain't gotta love me, I love myself. You ain't gotta fight for me, I'ma fight for myself. Walked 100 miles in these shoes, you should've seen how I felt. You ain't gotta like me, I like myself. You ain't gotta love me, I love myself. You ain't gotta fight